Alright, this is my second video today. I hope you guys enjoys it. My mean teacher. Yeah, think we've all had one. In whatever school you go to, we've all had that one crazy psycho teacher. And half of us have been taken out of the class. And the 1% of that half is me. Because my teacher was crazy. And so we're gonna get right into it. So I'm still working on this thing, and I'm kind of bad at it. So I specifically remember this teacher being super mad all the time. And I have a few crazy stories. You know, this is what she mainly looked like. She gave you work, sat down at her desk, you do something wrong, she yells at you. You talk a little bit, she gives you a warning card that you're gonna be sent to the office or something. So he was a little bit of a psychopath, I can admit that. Yeah, this is what she looked like most of the time. She had a dress on, and that her head is the equivalent to what I saw, or what I see now. She just points a stick at it. Okay, she was pretty much like one of those teachers that you found in the 1930s during the Great Depression. So, let's get right into it. I'm sorry guys, I don't know how to transmit this stuff. So, one of the very first stories I ever remember of this is the time that she yelled at us like we were cussing a bunch of words, and we were acting really bad. When all we did was just didn't hear. We didn't hear the teacher calling our names until she decided to go all friggin' drill sergeant and start yelling at us. Now, I specifically remember that she yelled pretty gosh darn loud. And she came back, and apparently a kid at recess apparently heard her as well, thought a teacher was calling at him, and he started crying, which I don't blame him. He was probably crying because he thought he was about to get smacked. And I don't blame him, because it sounded as if the teacher was in the 1930s holding a baton about to smack him right across the face. So she yells. I can't yell it loud enough because I feel like I'm gonna get complaints from my neighbors. But she yelled like, "Mason, Nick!" And it got our attention, I can say that. So props to her for getting our attention, even though it scared us half to death. So we I could think that a couple kids in that class probably peed themselves when they heard her yell, which I don't blame them. So yeah, she just yelled a lot. She was kind of bipolar. She had her favorites, the ones that if they got in trouble, she would let them off easy. And I definitely was not on her favorite list. And that brings us to our next story. And I know this because this. I remember this story pretty well as well, because it was crazy. And I don't know what she was talking about, but I know it was about me. So she takes us on this supposed field trip, even though we just went out back and stared at this wheat field all day. It was kind of boring. We just laid down in the grass, having all of the chiggers eat out our skin and bite our skin off. But while I had 1,000 chiggers on my back, I see Mrs. Golem talking to some guy. What was she talking to the guy about? I don't know. But what I do know is that she was probably talking about me. Because I look over at her. She's talking to the guy. Doesn't notice me quite yet. She looks at me with this frown. She was scowling at me while she was talking to this guy. She talks to the guy again. Still, I have no idea what they're saying. And then we go back inside. So when we go back inside, I'm just like, what were they talking about? Now, one of our good days was when we went in and it was Halloween. We got some pretzels and crap, and she turned on this weird square pumpkin thing where this pumpkin was square or something. I don't know. One of the kids liked it. He was like, "Oh yeah, let's watch some square pumpkin Halloween movie. Something about equality. Just what first graders need to know about." Even though 2018 seems to be more than equality, and it's not equality at all. So, we watched this movie, and that's one of our good days. Still, she was probably just wandering at her desk, looking at us, probably me the most, because she thought we were going to be messing around. But, we weren't. We watched the movie. At the end of the day, we went home, and yeah. I also need to mention how, this lady, if you can even call her a lady, described me. Alright. Ah, shoot. I'm sorry. So, this next frame is when it was parent-teacher conference day. One of my favorite days because I'm always a great student, and, yeah, I'm always a great student. You know, I get straight A's, even though you don't know what grade you got here, because it was satisfactory. It was liberal logic paper. And, yeah, no hurting kids' feelings, even if they are failing in the class. So, this first grade teacher, Mrs. Grump, I'm gonna call her that because she was really grumpy most of the time, as you guys can already tell. I don't have a script for this, so I'm kind of late on things, but she was Mrs. Grump. If you take Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street, the little green blob thing, and the trash can, times him by 10, his grouchiness, and that was this teacher. So, it's parent-teacher conference day. I get talked about great before and after my first grade parent-teacher conference. So apparently, my mom said in the car, we were just talking, and she said that my first grade teacher, Mrs. Golem, was in fact talking really rude about me during the parent-teacher conference. Now, my mom doesn't know what she said, which I kind of understand. It was, let's see, I'm in 6th grade now, practically. Let's see, that was 5 years ago, so she doesn't know what the heck she said. So, I wish she did, but she doesn't, which that's okay. But, so, she said it's very disturbing. And also, so, there was this kid named Joseph, and, He was one messed up kid. Now, he was my friend. Well, shouldn't say my friend. He's my weird friend that, did a lot of weird stuff. Not really stuff most first and kindergartners do. Can't even talk about it. It's kinda gross and personal. But, we go to the principal and we go to the teacher because this kid, Joseph, was in my class. So we go to the teacher and she says that my mom is crazy. Now, that's not really something you should say to a mom where her kid is describing all of the weird stuff. That ticks off. That ticks off a mom. And my mom keeps going on about this. And as soon as they finally decide to believe her, they get like a court official or something, and they sit us down in one classroom. And they ask one of us each what happened. So I go in there, I talk to her. Then Joseph goes in there, he talks to her, probably lying to her and crap. And, yeah. But the thing is, they didn't call my mom about it. So she got really mad about that. So this is the story of my mean teacher. And, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed making it. Subscribe, hit that like button, and skedaddle skedoodle, your dog is now a poodle. Goodbye.